This segment will deal with some key concepts that are fundamental to how we might think about this conflict. We will begin with the poem, The Blind Men and the Elephant. The poem was chosen because it embodies a fundamental truth that is recognized across many cultures and many religions. It is especially powerful for situations such as this one. Let me read the first stanza of this poem. It was 6 men of Indostan to learning much inclined, who went to see the elephant, though all of them were blind, that each by observation might satisfy his mind. The poem continues on to capture how each blind man, in turn, felt a different aspect or part of the elephant and related it to his own experience. So the blind man who felt the tail thought it was a rope. The one who felt a trunk thought it a snake. The one who touched the tusk thought it a spear, and so on. The poem concludes with this stanza. And so these men of Indostan disputed loud and long, each in his own opinion, exceeding stiff and strong, though each was partly in the right. They were all in the wrong. That fundamental truth that was referenced earlier? We are all blind because we only see part of the problem. No one of us has a full understanding of the whole in any given situation. Truth in that sense is relative and can only be approximated. Yet we all believe that our view is the one right way, and as the poem suggests, we are all wrong. So in this instance, the issue before us is simply this. Is Israel pure innocence, as it claims, or is it guilty as sin, as a growing number of others see it? To find out, we have to consult multiple points of view so that our ultimate picture of the reality takes into consideration a variety of ways of looking at it. Therefore, we will look at the situation from a variety of vantage points. We will look at it through the experience of those who lived it, or were eyewitnesses to it, or who see it through the analytic lens of an investigative reporter or historian. The view that we are contrasting these perspectives against is the view that flows from the public relations machine of the Israeli government. I call this the scripted view because it is deliberately constructed to cover up uncomfortable details and to make the organization look good. That is, what will best sell to its constituents. All organizations do this, by the way. All individuals do as well. We present to the world that which makes us look good. We don't bring up those uncomfortable details that might contradict that view. Before we proceed, let me offer a few words about diffusing volatile conflict. Many believe that such conflict is almost irresolvable, and the only way to deal with it is to avoid it or to superimpose our view by force. We do this in marriages, we do this in the workplace, we do this on the global stage. I'm here to suggest that there are things that we can constructively do in order to resolve such matters. The first principle in this approach is that we must enter into the mindset and worldview of our perceived adversary. We must come to know the other person's perspective almost as well as we know our own. In order to do that, we must learn how to suspend judgment, to abandon preconceived notions and strongly held beliefs about what has happened. I am not about to suggest that this is an easy task. Some might indicate that it is psychologically impossible. But we must strive toward this end. If successful, we will overcome our automatic response, which is usually biased in the extreme. Let me stipulate from the onset that this is not a debate that we are entering into. Our goal is to achieve a clarity of understanding that can set the stage for dialogue. What we are trying to do is initially understand and gain agreement about what actually happened. So we focus first on the data or event or encounter that is the driving force behind this conflict. We are trying to separate out interpretation from fact. In a sense, we become private investigators trying to get to the heart of the problem. Given the complexity of this conflict and the fact that so many events and disasters have occurred, the first question that comes to mind is, where in the world does one start? The way to resolve this dilemma is to start with those issues that historically have gone underground. They have disappeared from view for a reason. Very often it is just those volatile issues that are mission critical to the resolution of the conflict. Regardless of the type of relationship that we find ourselves in, there are always issues which cannot be discussed because they are an emotional powder keg. When those issues rise to the level of being mission critical to that relationship, they must be dealt with. In this particular conflict, it appears that there is an unwillingness to address those matters that seem to be fundamental to resolving their differences. It is for these reasons that a different approach be used. This is one that focuses on more constructive and non-threatening strategy rather than one that is geared to outwitting our adversary. In the jargon of business, this would be called win-win. In the spiritual world, this is known as do unto others. That is the golden rule. Our tools of choice will be inquiry and dialogue as illustrated here in a diagram by Lee Beaumont. You can find more information about his approach on his website. There is a cost associated with our unwillingness to address these kinds of matters. The dynamic that is Israel-Palestine provides ample evidence of the impact of such failure. But we need not look so far afield to find illustrations of what happens. We only need to look at our own immediate world. Many relationships, whether at home or in the office,